Welcome to the Cross Creek On Demand podcast, a podcast for you because God is for you. Here's a question. What if the thing that drove you or someone you love away from religion was never actually God? What if we've misunderstood who God is because of how religion portrayed him? This week, we're exploring one of the most powerful stories Jesus ever told, about a son who ran, a father who waited, and a home that never stopped being home. If you've ever felt like you had to earn love, tiptoe through faith, or keep your distance from God, then this is for you. This isn't about guilt. It's not about pretending. It's about coming home to a God who runs. So, let's talk about it together. So one of the things I love about my wife is that I can be completely myself with her. Like, no pretending, no performance, no eggshells to avoid. I can make any dumb joke and she'll either laugh, roll her eyes, or just ignore it entirely and just keep talking. But I never have to hide. I don't have to calculate every word. I know she loves me for me and she's not walking out the door. And I appreciate that about her so much because, the opposite is just so exhausting. Those eggshell people. You ever meet someone and just know, yep, I'm definitely going to offend this person someday. And as a pastor, it's almost instinctual. Like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And in my mind, I'm thinking, yep, you're probably going to be mad and gone in about 6 months. See, with eggshell people, you're constantly evaluating everything. What you say and how you say it. You're not free to be lighthearted or honest because they're not a safe place. So you never get close. Because the second they're offended enough or often enough, you're out. And sadly, that's how a lot of people imagine God. Fragile, unpredictable, waiting for you to say or do the wrong thing just one too many times and then you're out. And he just can't wait to smite us with his holy smiter. Which is funny until we realize some of us have built our whole view of God around it. See, religion makes us feel we are always one sin away from being rejected. You mess up, you're out. You push too far, you're rejected. You start to doubt, well, you're just looking for an excuse to sin. And maybe that's exactly why some of you or your kids or your friend or your sibling left the church. They got tired of trying to measure up. They got tired of pretending, tired of wondering if God was always a little bit disappointed. But what if the thing that makes people reject God was never God in the first place? Because here's the truth we've been seeing in this entire series. God is not fragile. He's not easily offended, and he's not drafting a list of sins just waiting to unfollow you. No, he's stable. He's solid. He's safe. And when Jesus tells one of his most powerful stories, he shatters this angry God image once and for all. Because in this story that we're going to talk about, a runaway son expects rejection, but finds something so much better. Not wrath, not distance, not punishment, but forgiveness and welcome. Jesus proved God isn't waiting to reject us. He's running to embrace us. Now, here's how this story all begins. In Luke chapter 15, verse 1. Tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus. Now, can we just let that sink in for a second? Can you see the difference between Jesus and our modern church? It says tax collectors and notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus preach. People who were nothing like Jesus loved being around Jesus. Why? Because Jesus embraces the people that religion rejects. The tax collectors and sinners loved listening to Jesus because he didn't just tolerate them, he actually enjoyed them and he loved them. See, their whole lives they were told, you've blown it. God wants nothing to do with you anymore. And then Jesus comes and pulls up a seat. But of course, as we've seen, Jesus' acceptance always bothers certain people. This made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that he was associating with sinful people, even eating with them. The religious leaders, men who were admired for how well they followed the rules, watched Jesus pull up a chair to this table of outcasts, and they were furious. What? He eats with them? See, eating with someone showed solidarity, showed acceptance, showed you're part of the family. And in their minds, holiness was earned through distance, through ritual and separation from people like that. The Pharisees thought they were close to God because they acted holy and religious. They thought God wanted holy bribes. See, religion tells us our performance can purchase God's love. Like if we just behave better, then God will owe us something. So, right away, as we open up this passage, we have two groups of people who don't understand who God really is, who both view God as an angry deity who sits on his throne and makes sure people aren't doing all those bad things they secretly want to do. One group knows they're out. The other group is convinced they're in. And neither knew God very well. So what does Jesus do? He tells 3 short stories. Stories that completely transformed what they thought they knew about God. And in the first 2 stories about a lost sheep and a lost coin, someone drops everything, hunts down what's lost, and when they find it, they throw a party. And in the third story, we see how Jesus, God in a body, chose to explain as clearly as possible his love for his children. And as we look at this story, let me ask you a couple of questions. Internal, you don't have to answer out loud. I mean, you're in your car or listening, whatever. That'd just be weird. So, question: are you more often the ashamed outsider or the judging insider? Or maybe if we're honest, we're kind of both on the same day, aren't we? We harbor judgments about those who are different from us or have made poor choices. We think some people are unworthy of God's love. And on the flip side, many of us carry the burden of believing we're unworthy and unloved. We try to hide from God rather than just enjoy him. But Jesus tells a different story, and he illustrates that God's love is for everyone. And this story, I think it's one of the most important stories Jesus told. Not just because it's dramatic, but because we've all lived it in some way. To illustrate the point further, Jesus told them this story. A man had 2 sons. The younger son told his father, "I want my share of your estate now before you die." So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. What a jerk. Like, the younger son asks for his inheritance while his father's still alive, basically saying, "Dad, you just won't die, so give me your stuff now." Actually wishing his father dead. And in that culture and time, and even today, it was hugely disrespectful and deeply hurtful. It showed a complete rejection of his family for what his inheritance could give him. See, he's driven by self, by desire, by greed, obviously not by love. He's prioritizing what he wants over his father and family. And that's sin. See, at its core, sin says, what I want is more important than you. It leads us away from love and connection, causing pain to ourselves and those we care about. And as the story continues, we see this principle play out. See, the son leaves for a far-off country, and the loving father lets him make his own choices. He doesn't force him to stay. And so the son runs, burns through everything, ends up broke, filthy, feeding pigs, and is so hungry that the pig food starts looking good. And when he hits rock bottom, he starts seeing things more clearly. When he had finally come to his senses, he said to himself, "At home, even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and say, 'Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you. I am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant.'" This is the turning point of the story. See, the son finally realizes how empty his choices have left him. He's chased fulfillment in all the wrong places and ended up starving and alone. And if we're honest, we all go there. Maybe it wasn't spending your inheritance. Maybe it was seeking approval or love or escape in all the wrong places. And when we do, we face a choice. Do we keep running from our Heavenly Father, or do we turn and come home? The son believes his failures disqualify him from being loved. So he plans to return not as a son, but as a servant, hoping to earn back a sliver of approval. What he doesn't understand is that the Father's love was never based on behavior. And it's the same with God. His love can't be earned, only received. See, God's not waiting for perfection, just for us to take the first step home. And what comes next in the story changes everything we think we know about God. So he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. So the son's walking back home, probably rehearsing his apology for the 100th time, his head down, heart pounding, hoping for at least a scrap of mercy. And his father saw him a long way off, meaning he had been scanning the horizon every day, waiting for his son to come home. Why? So he could tell his son off, "I told you so." Or so he could get his money back? Now think about the religious people in your past or in your life. How would you expect them to react? How about your parents? How do we usually expect God to react? But if this were your child, how would you react? Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. So the son's nervous, right? He knows he's almost home. He's expecting to have to humiliate himself and grovel at his father's feet. But as he starts to see his childhood home, he sees the last thing he expected. His dad sprinting at him, arms wide, eyes full of tears, zero hesitation. Like the father doesn't even wait for an explanation. He doesn't cross his arms and lecture. He runs, he hugs, he kisses. Why? Because his son came home. That's it. That's the whole requirement. Come home. And if you've pictured God with his arms crossed, waiting to punish you, Jesus came to replace that picture forever. God has never and will never give up on you. See, the Father wasn't filled with conditions or disappointment or offense. He was filled with love and compassion. And when you're filled with that kind of love, there isn't room for anything else. But wait, had the Son done anything to make amends yet? Well, he tries to. He starts his rehearsed speech. He says, or his son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you. I am no longer worthy of being called your son." Now, both of those guys knew that was the actual truth. But his father said to his servants, like he cuts his son off mid-sentence. But his father said to his servants, like completely ignoring what his son had to say. But his father said to his servants, "Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we've been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast, for the son of mine was dead and now has returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found." So the party began. See, the father says, "I don't care what's happened. I am sorry that you had to go through all of that, but you're here now. Here's the best of everything I have. You never stopped being my son." See, this isn't just generosity. It's reinstatement. The son isn't earning his spot back. He never lost it. And there's no guilt trip. There's no, "Do you know what this has done to your mother?" He doesn't make him confess all his failures to the village. He doesn't make him pay him back. The son returned, and the relationship is immediately healed. The father instantly and completely gives the son the one and only thing that can heal broken relationships: forgiveness. And here's the thing: the son never even finishes his apology speech. His father cuts him off. Why? Because forgiveness doesn't require groveling. The relationship was broken, and now it's restored. And that's worth celebrating. See, God isn't interested in how well you perform your repentance. He just wants you home. He's not keeping score. He's planning a party. And so many of us come to God expecting criticism. But Jesus says, what we'll actually find is a God running toward us with open arms. So here's the point. God isn't standing there holding a grudge, waiting to say, "I told you so." He hasn't written you off. He's waiting to run to you. This is the picture of himself he wants us to have, God running to us to offer forgiveness. See, that's the whole point of Jesus coming. He came from heaven to earth to show us who God really is, and then demonstrated his love and his forgiveness by dying and rising again for us. Now, as what usually happens, there might be this voice in your head that pops up that says, "That's too easy." Right? Like, "Oh, talking like this gives people freedom to sin all the time." Do you think the son would think like that? Like, do you think he'd try to find loopholes around what his father wants for him? No, right? He's living a life of thankfulness to his father now, doing what his father wishes because he knows his father cares for him and he trusts his father. He has truly experienced the fullness of his father's love. And to everyone who's willing to listen, he tells them how amazing his father is. And when someone wrongs that son, do you think he holds it over their head? Or do you think he's quick to forgive and restore the way his father did for him? See, listen, If what you were taught about God left you feeling afraid, unworthy, or never enough, Jesus came to correct that lie. Religion says, you messed up, you're out, good luck earning your way back. Jesus says, you're not too far, you're not too late, you're loved, just come home. God isn't waiting to drop the hammer. He's waiting to wrap us up in love, forgiveness, and restoration. And the only thing standing in the way isn't him. It's us. Jesus already did the work of restoring the relationship, and all that's left is to admit we've been running and turn toward him. That's what confession is. Not guilt-tripping ourselves, but being honest enough to come home. And here's the best part. There is nothing in your past, present, or future that disqualifies you from God's immediate love and forgiveness. Confession doesn't earn that. It simply accepts it. And when you start living in that kind of forgiveness, something shifts. You finally breathe again. Grace makes room for healing even where you didn't think it could grow. You find freedom and peace, and maybe even the strength to let go of bitterness you've been holding towards someone else. See, forgiveness doesn't mean pretending the hurt didn't happen, but it does mean letting God begin to heal it, even if it takes time. Experiencing forgiveness empowers you to offer forgiveness. So, maybe you've been running, hiding, afraid of God's anger or disappointment. You can stop hiding. You can stop bribing and just come home. He's waiting to run to you. He won't force it on you. It's your choice. But if there's never been a point in your life that you accepted his love and forgiveness, now's his opportunity. Now's your opportunity. Just tell him, Jesus, I'm done running. I'm done hiding. I want to come home. I want to be your child. Please forgive and restore me. And for all of us, trust him. Trust his love. You are his child. He is not going to throw you out. And because of the forgiveness we have received, we are free to give it to everyone else. So here's my invitation this week to help make this part of our just daily thinking, daily lives. This week, read Luke 15, part of what I just read. Read Luke 15 at least 3 times this week. And then ask yourself after you've read it, how have I been running? And who do I need to offer restoration to? So, imagine being part of a community where no one had to pretend to be perfect, where people walked in still covered in pig slop decisions and found a place at the table. Imagine people who don't just know about grace, but filter everything through it. Imagine a church full of running fathers and mothers, open arms, constant welcome. Not because sin doesn't matter, but because people matter more. And love, true Jesus-shaped love, is what brings them home. What if we lived like God wasn't keeping score anymore? What if we stopped being known for what we condemn and started being known for who we embrace? See, Jesus told this story so we wouldn't just believe in God, but fall into the arms of the one who came running. Religion rejects and separates. Jesus forgives and restores. And he will never give up on you.